Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Highly Taken podcast. David Secret and I guess Utley again, back at you again from Tallahassee, Florida.
Bluetooth app and disconnected.
Sorry, that was my Bluetooth. Christian Smith back at you here in Delaware. If my phone stays alive, I'll be in Maryland mid-recording.
Put that on your bingo list again. But all right, again, it's really slow ever since football ended. Not that much to talk about. We're trying to do our best here, but I have some NFL we can talk about. Some news, the biggest one being, obviously, that T. Higgins was franchise tagged by the Cincinnati Bengals. They have their guy again.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to see him hit the market, dude. There was a couple QBs I would have liked to see him play with. Number one being C.J. Stroud. Would have been great to get him a number one proven guy. But hey, I mean, Bengals have their 1 and 2 again. It's still a nasty duo with Chase and Higgins, and I think if they can bring Boyd back, you got 3 of them. So,
yeah, and that's gonna be a big thing too. Is Boyd? Boyd's gonna need to get back there too. That's a good 3 tandem there. I guess the biggest thing for this 3 core guys is the only year they were all able to stay healthy, they went to the Super Bowl. But other than that, you have guys who have missed a lot of games the past several years. I mean, T. Higgins missed 7 last year. Obviously, Joe Burrow was out most of the year last year. And then also Jamar Chase missed 2 or 3 games as well with injuries. So it'll be interesting to see what this team does. You said your moves on there, but I guess we can talk about it. I mentioned to Nick, $30.8 million was added to the cap space this year.
Yeah, that's going to be big for a lot of teams, man. I mean, the way I almost kind of look at that is as long as you have like a 0 cap space coming into it, you're basically getting the money for almost a star player at any position you want. Outside of quarterback, you're now getting the money to add on almost 1 star player to your roster. It's what they're allowing you to do if that's the way you want to spend it, which is huge for certain teams. You look at a team, I feel like we somehow come back to them every fucking week. But look at Kansas City now, right? Boom, $30 million. What do they need? A receiver. What's the top receiver in the league make? $30 million. Like, okay, boom, we got that. You just paired up one of the best receivers in the NFL with the best QB in the NFL. Or you get these teams now that they might be that one piece away, that one key piece. Well, now they can go get that key piece, and they can probably get it at a high level, rate. I truthfully think it's a good thing, though. I like it because it's allowing more talent to more teams. It's going to bring more competitiveness into these big games. You get into the playoffs, and you're going to have talent everywhere. You're going to have players all around the ball. It's going to make it more fun, more exciting.
Yeah, I agree. And, that was funny enough. My next question for you was, what team do you think is going to help this out the most this year? And, oh, wait a minute. A new challenger approaches.
Uh-oh.
The anticipation's killing me. We have Dylan Seifert back at us from Jacksonville, Florida. Surprise guest.
What's up?
All right. Well, Dylan, to get you a little informed here, we are right now talking about the $30.8 million that was just added to the cap. I was going to ask Christian who he thought the team that benefits from this the most was, but he kind of answered that. So who do you think benefited from this the most?
From the salary cap rise, I'd have to say, honestly, as an Eagles fan, I would say the Eagles, that clears out some cap space for their top pass rusher, Hassan Reddick. You got Vic Fangio coming in. I think that they'll be able to use Reddick as a solely pass rusher like they did the Super Bowl run year. So I think they'll be able to invest in him as well as going after a free agent linebacker. That way he doesn't have to be dropped into coverage.
Yeah, I think Christian made a good point, and Christian said what I was going to say. I feel like, unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs may benefit from this a lot, too. You have a lot of wide receivers that are out there, and, we just had a team who won a Super Bowl with a garbage offense, truthfully, and so they can go out there and get that. Or, you have $30.8 million to move around. You can go ahead and try to get Jones and Snead back to re-sign if you want to go that way. I would be kind of scared, and he's not a big name, not by any means, but I feel like if Darnell Mooney from Chicago Bears were to go to the Kansas City Chiefs as a deep threat, and he won't be Tyreek Hill level dangerous, I feel like he could still be kind of dangerous as a deep threat if he ever went to Kansas City.
Don't forget Gabe Davis, too.
What?
And so don't forget Gabe Davis is a free agent too.
That's right. Gabe Davis is a free agent too.
Gabe Davis is still off and on. Get out of here. But no, I don't. I actually I didn't think about is it Mooney? Yeah, Mooney.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney.
City. That's a good one there. But I'll tell you what. One more thing that kind of is intriguing me a little bit here, just as an NFL fan, not more of a Eagles fan, but with a $30 million ad, Washington's going to be at $100 million in cap space plus, and they hold the second overall pick in the draft right now. I mean, They already have a kind of solid defense, dude. They could add in two to three of the top 5 offensive linemen in free agency this year, and find themselves a quarterback. And they have plenty of receivers on that offense. 2 stud running backs. I mean, they could do something with that team.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel, by the way, is also a free agent this year too. So we'll see.
He probably walks, but I think you still have Scary Terry. You still have Juwan Dotson. I think they'll be all right. I think they'll find another guy.
You know what? If I'm Chicago, honestly, I think Washington's going to be looking for their next quarterback. Sam Howell isn't terrible, but he is not a franchise quarterback. If they want a franchise quarterback, I think the Bears should honestly trade back 1 pick, get what they can out of it, and let the Commanders draft Caleb Williams, sit back at 2, and get Marvin Harrison Jr. I think Justin Fields is a better quarterback, and frankly, I think Caleb Williams is going to be a bust, the next Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same page with you there a little bit, Dylan. I think I'm not on that Caleb Williams hype train as well. I do think, I think it's smart for the Bears to trade back, and I think either spot 2 or spot 3 with New England is the golden opportunity. You trade there, you can draft Marvin Harrison Jr., you can grab a package, do what you want. I threw it out to David the other day. Crazy scenario. Bears trade Justin Fields, right? They gather the package from that. They trade out of the 1 to the 3. They draft Marvin Harrison Jr., and they trade. I forget how I worded it, but it was something crazy to David. I said something crazy to David. It was kind of funny.
That doesn't help.
Wasn't Matt Daniels on the Super Bowl commercial?
What I will say about Caleb Williams, though, and I guess this segues into my next topic I want to talk about, he is deciding not to throw at the combine this year. And, this is kind of a newer thing we've been seeing recently where people don't do combine drills. They just do their pro days, and that's it. So what are your guys' kind of takes on players who don't really do the combine anymore, who don't really do much outside of the college season once it comes down to the draft combine and the senior bowls and the pro days and everything?
I kind of feel like we're almost looking at it now, like what's really the point of the combine then, right? If all these players are doing quite basically the exact same thing at their pro day, then what's the point of the combine? And the only thing I can really see the point of the combine being is for all the schools that really don't get a pro day. You know what I mean? Because, why else? Like, yeah, you have half these players who aren't participating, and if they participate in the combine, they're probably not participating in the pro day. Like, it's really one or the other. So I don't understand why there's 2 of them either, and I feel like if they're going to keep the combine around at this point, you might as well give it to schools that they're not going to have a pro day for.
I like that. I think people that are projected to be like undrafted free agents, stuff like that, give them a chance to show that they could be picked up. You have people like Jordan Mailata, who was a 7th round pick, I believe, where, it could have been the coaching, but these studs coming from these late rounds, studs that were undrafted, that never really get any limelight because they're not invited to the combine and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting too. I feel like a lot of it now is everything you see that's been changing, the people not participating in their bowls, people going to the Senior Bowl, it's all just to avoid the risk of injury. To be fair, Caleb Williams is projected to go top 3. I mean, you can't go higher than top 3, so what's the point of doing a combine if it's not going to help your draft stock to begin with? And truthfully, what does the combine really teach you about guys anyway? I understand it, you can see how a guy can run a shuttle drill. You can see a guy's 40-yard dash. That's cool and whatever, but it doesn't really give you much game scenario. I forget, there was some linebacker I feel like the Eagles drafted where the guy only trained combine drills. So when he went to the combine, he absolutely destroyed in the combine that year. But he was awful at football. He was just really good at training the combine, and that got him a massive. I'll have to look that up later. I forget, it was some linebacker. But
I
I mean,
remember. I
Casey
know what you're talking
Matthews.
about.
did you say Casey Matthews?
Yeah, Clay Matthews' brother.
No, it was Casey Matthews. That's an unfortunate pickup because of freaking Chip Kelly, I feel. But in other news, Russell Wilson came out and he told us he wants to win 2 more Super Bowls. So how do you two think he's going to do that in the next 5 years?
On Madden.
Yeah,
I was
that's right.
about to say, going to Pittsburgh, baby. If he go, dude, take his ass over to fucking Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, bro. He's set, dude. This guy's gonna be winning chips for the next 5 years.
Dude, if he can't use Jerry Judy
And
and
Courtland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton, how is he gonna use uh George Pickens and whoever the heck their other receivers are? Nobody even cares
Wow.
about the rest of them.
Allen Robinson.
Whoa, and the disrespect to say that Deontay Johnson isn't the number 2 receiver over there is crazy, bro. I'm
On any other
taking
team, Deontay Johnson's a bench player.
Nah, dude. Jerry Judy sucks. Jerry Judy is like the worst wide receiver in the NFL, outside of Kadarius Toney.
Rager.
Oh, nah, dude. Rager was balling.
That's a hot take. I think Nelson Aguilar had a pretty good year last year with
did.
Baltimore. But yeah,
Aguilar
I don't know.
touchdown in the playoffs.
I like the answer there. Nobody who played against the Chiefs defense balled out in the playoffs. But yeah, I agree with what Dylan said. It has to be Madden, right? Like Russell Wilson, you're at the end of your career. You didn't play amazing last year. Granted, you played better than you did 2 years ago, but 2 years ago you had like 12 touchdowns in the first like 15 games of the season. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers would be interesting to see if he would go there. The only unfortunate thing is he's under contract still, so it would have to be a trade. And it would have to be a worthwhile trade for the Broncos to make. What?
They're gonna cut him. They're gonna cut him.
They're going to cut him? I'd be interested not to get anything out of him. I said also, don't be surprised if you see a reunion in Seattle. If that were to happen, to see a little reunion in Seattle, there's a team built around up there as well with a better offensive line than he had when he was there. So that would be kind of interesting.
What about him going to New England? I know that they're wanting Mac Jones. They're trying to get away from Mac Jones. New coaching staff. I could see them going after Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
Guys, you're not going to
think-
believe this. A challenger approaches.
Oh no.
Did you say Wiener? Who the heck is highly taken?
Whoa, what
Nick!
happened?
All 4 of
Whoa.
us.
What is going
No,
on?
No way. We got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck from the Dunkin' Donuts Super Bowl ad. What the
Hey,
heck is going on?
Dunk Kings, man. Dunk Kings.
All right, what should we ask Nick about? Okay, Nick. I know I already asked Nick about the 30.8 million. We had that conversation. Right now we're talking about Russell Wilson. He said how he wanted to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years. How do you think that's going to happen?
I mean, obviously he's got to sign with the team that's already built. I don't. I guess Christian doesn't want to be here when I'm here.
Well, he's at 9% when he started out, so his phone may be dead.
I honestly, I don't know if there's a chance for him and his talent to even get to 2 more Super Bowls. Maybe 1 if he's lucky and gets a defense like Peyton Manning had. Sure, maybe 1, but I don't think he's going to get another Super Bowl.
A lot of the talk has been he may go to Pittsburgh. Do you see that as any possibility that he ends up in Pittsburgh? That's a pretty good defense there.
That would be the best place for him to go. That would be the best place, honestly.
Okay, well, I guess next is interesting to have people popping in mid-podcast. This is great. It's keeping me on my toes. But finally, I want to talk about the most underrated backup who went to an amazing college, might I add you. Jameis Winston, should he be a starter again? He is trying to say he's going to leave New Orleans.
No. No.
Wait, say what?
Jameis Winston said he's going to leave New Orleans because he wants to pursue being a starter again.
Well, where is he going to start at? Is there rumors on this? I'm like, where he's actually starting?
He just wants to start. That's all he says. He wants to start.
I mean, that's great. I'm glad that he wants to start, but who's going to start him?
Oh, I bet. I don't know who's going to start. The Commanders. No. Why is Dad up there? Why does he kind of look like the guy, the principal when he grew out the beard from Community?
that's what you tell him.
I didn't even see it. I didn't even see it.
But yeah,
I mean,
maybe we see a reunion. Maybe Baker leaves Tampa, and we see Jameis Winston go to Tampa. Who knows?
You think that that's going to happen? Tampa?
I don't know.
He's not going to start there either, man. They have someone that they want to sign. His name's Baker Mayfield.
I know. Well, if Baker leaves, there's a vacant spot.
But that's a big if. You're saying that he's going to leave. I don't think they want him gone. I think they actually like him there, man.
They got $38.8 million cap now. They can do whatever they want there. They can sign him they want. They can get rid of Mike Evans. That's a contract they're not going to have to pay next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Here's my final one. I talked to Nick about this, Dylan, but AJ Brown went on 94.1 WIP and tore them a new one, saying that he loves Philly, wants to be there, and they need to stop bullying people using their platform. What do you think of his thoughts, and what do you think of players going on these shows to call them out and clear out air?
I say go for it. I feel like the media can sometimes stir up some conflict that wasn't even like needed. With AJ Brown, a lot of people like speculate him wanting to leave, but they don't know the insides, like what was happening during the season. A lot of it is kind of like the same people who wanted Andy Reid fired, because even though he went to the NFC Championship with Donovan McNabb, Todd Pinkston, and whatever other no-name wide receivers. Yeah, we're looking. Yeah, it's the same people that are like, "Oh, he sucks, fire him. Let's get Chip Kelly." Now look at Chip Kelly. What's he doing? That's right. He's the offensive coordinator of Ohio State.
Don't remind me.
Are you not happy about that?
I didn't want to be reminded of that.
I started having flashbacks. Of fresh off his ACL injury, Sam Bradford
running read option
coming to the Eagles. Yeah, in a West Coast offense. I was like, what in the world?
It wasn't even West Coast. It was straight up college spread offense trying to run no huddle.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that the media tends to want to get ahead of what's gonna happen. So like, they want to be in there, but I honestly think like you have people, Justin Fields. Everybody saw that he started like unfollowing the Bears account, but in reality, he was unfollowing a bunch of people, and immediately they were like, "Oh, he's getting traded. He's leaving the Bears." But the fact of the matter is, nobody knows except for the players, and sometimes not even the players know. It's just the front office.
I think the big thing here is Dylan used the same exact example I used, which I find funny when I talked about Andy Reid last episode. But I think it's more of I've never been a big fan of people going at media members, and that's one of the big reasons I was never a Baker Mayfield fan. But when they're starting rumors, I feel like that is okay to kind of clear the air and be like, hey, no, that's not what's happening here. I feel like if it's not people making fun of if people make fun of your play and you go at the media for that, I don't like that just because like you can play better. But if people are just like, yeah, somebody slept with somebody's girlfriend and that's the reason why, everything's going to hell over there, then that's where you're like, okay, now that's a little too far. Now you're making it too personal. That's not what happened. And I can understand doing that.
That's what they tried doing, man. That's what they tried doing. They were saying someone slept with someone's girlfriend and they're just twisting things. But again, we know Philly media. We know that they love harping on the bad stuff. And, especially when, if it's going really good, it's going really good in Philly radio. 94.1, fantastic. When it's going bad and you end the season the way they ended that, everything bad's going to happen, and they're going to come up with some crazy stuff on there. It always has been like that.
It sells. It sells, and you see a story about like something like that, even if you get no facts, you're like, oh, that's odd. Let me read what this says. Somebody cheated on who? Like it's honestly crazy. And again, why people need to go on and talk about it, because then you have rumors starting for absolutely no reason. But I guess we can go into NCAA. We'll segue into Chip Kelly, his, I guess, replacement now. Eric Bieniemy is now the associate head coach and offensive coordinator of UCLA. So how in the world does a guy who we thought 2 years ago was a head coaching candidate go from that to an offensive coordinator for a mid UCLA Bruins football team?
Not even a good UCLA team, man. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I never thought I was going to see that. That might be the most surprising sign ever. And good on UCLA. I don't know what they did, but I thought that, I mean, it's a good signing for them. It's just not a good signing for him.
Money, yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at UCLA, you're looking at Hollywood, you know what I mean? Like you're looking
Yeah, but half
at
your paycheck goes to California. Taxes are terrible.
Gas is awful.
Well, that's fair, but even then, you're looking at it. You're looking at a contract money. Plus, he can probably win a little bit more with UCLA than he would in the NFL. Honestly,
Now that they're moving to the Big Ten, I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know how UCLA is going to fare in the Big Ten next year.
listen, if I see UCLA in the Big Ten East, I'm gonna be like, what is going on?
I'm not even sure what they're doing with the conferences anymore.
They're just making it one big conference. And like I said, we talked about this before. I'm sure we can get into it. But the way I look at it, man, they can do 3 divisions with this, right? And they can have a tournament at the end of the year, like a playoff at the end of the year for the Big Ten championship. I really like that format that they can do and have it to where, you know, at the end, you're still playing your conference games, but you shorten it up. And you're playing playoffs for the Big Ten championship now that they've extended it so far.
It's just tough to do that because you got to remind you that they added some more teams to the Big Ten, so they're going to find out how to do that. But also, they've already extended the season more because they're having a 12-team playoffs, and now you're adding an extra game on top of 1 or 2 more games.
You don't have to add an extra game. You shorten your conference play and make it to where it starts sooner because you're still getting your conference play, right? But you have the 3 divisions. You have each of the winners of those divisions, they're getting into the playoffs. Then you have like a wild card per se that gets a bid, and you have those 4, and it's only 2 games.
Well, here's what I would say. I just think like there needs to be another conference. You have teams like Stanford, UCLA, Washington, USC, all of those West Coast, like Pacific Coast. You can honestly make a Pacific Athletic Conference from like the 10 teams that are over there. Maybe call it the Pac-10. I don't know. I'm throwing that out there. It doesn't exist. I think it needs to.
As soon as he started saying like Stanford, I was like, oh, okay, we're
yeah.
But honestly, I like what they're kind of doing with the 12 teams. They're gonna have teams from conferences that aren't Power 5. Teams like Liberty, who sneakily goes undefeated. Nobody cares about that because not a Power 5 conference. You're having teams like Liberty being able to be in that playoff, and maybe they won't win, but it gives them publicity and it gives them recognition that they haven't gotten. So
so it's liberty and justice for all, right? I mean, we're all going to be seeing it.
I think the biggest thing for me about it is I'm still wondering how they're going to do that because as of right now, it's the 5 highest ranked conference winners and then 7 at-large bids. And so I find it interesting. Is that just going to be the top 12 teams? Like, how is that going to come out? Because like when you're talking about at-large bids there, like, are you going to have, say, like Michigan loses a game to Ohio State, they should get an at-large bid, but Penn State loses 2 games and it's to Michigan State and Ohio State. But then you have, not Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, but then you have Liberty go undefeated, but they're probably not ranked in the top 12 if they go undefeated. Are they going into the top 12? Like, who gets left out? So I want to know how they're going to tweak this to have a Liberty inside there. If they're not a top 12 team, I don't know how they don't make the top 12, how they make the top 12 at all. So that's going to be the confusing part because people are still going to get left out and people are still going to complain about getting left out.
That's the unfortunate thing too, is you can't do the top 12 teams because not only will you have 2 loss teams in there, but there are some 3 loss teams that tend to be in the top 12. I think LSU was a top 12 school last year after having 4 losses, and they usually like, oh well, yeah, they lost, but they lost
Here's
to
the
these
teams they lost
teams.
to.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, when you do that, it's negating the fact that some teams have a better winning percentage. Some teams are facing their schedule and they're going out and winning every game, and they're not getting
It's
the
not
recognition.
it's not about schedule. It's not about they're winning. It's about strength of schedule too. You got to throw that in. There's a lot of different moving pieces in that. And I'm saying that for a reason because FSU deserved to be left out. And I'm going to be honest. They deserve to be left out based on the team. They deserve to be left out. That's why Dylan really left it open for you to get mad about it. But strength and schedule is going to be a factor in it too. You know, you can't have a team like, I don't know. I don't think Bama's going to be the same. I don't think Michigan's going to be the same. Let's say Ohio State. You're not going to leave Ohio State out, right, if they have 1 loss and Liberty goes undefeated for the year. Now, if they play some teams that give them the chance, sure, absolutely. If their strength of schedule is there. But strength of schedule has to be a vote into this playoff.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying. Sorry, I was going to say, my last thought is that's why I keep saying, like, you're saying, oh, you can't leave this team out. That's why you do the conference champions, and then you have those wild card teams that are put in there. Like, we know they're 1 loss, like they're not a conference champion, but they played well enough and they lost to the conference champion in order to get in. So I feel like that could be one way to kind of negate that.
Yeah, like I said, it's trying to find the perfect balance to have parity because, like you're saying, if Liberty goes undefeated, this year they said if there was 12 teams, Liberty would have been one of the teams. I don't know how that happens because Liberty wasn't a top 12 team when the bowl season came out. So I'm not sure how that's what I'm saying. How would they have flexed them in there for no reason? Then somebody else would get bumped out of the top 12 just because, you know, they want a Cinderella in there. I feel like there needs to be some sorts, and there needs to be something better than what they're doing. I just don't know what it is. I feel like they probably do have the best formula in there. You slap the 5 highest ranked champions, and then you have 7 at-large bids. However you make those at-large bids. But it comes down to Nick's right. I mean, if Liberty wants to go in, they need to start scheduling bigger teams. It's only unfortunate because if you want to have better teams to play out of conference, and with the way it's going to be really hard to make out of conference games anymore when you have to add all these newer people going into bigger and bigger conferences with more and more teams. And like you said, you want to add another game to the Big Ten. Well, that takes away one of either your out of conference games you want to play, or it takes away a conference game. So the scheduling is gonna be so weird. You have 2 mega conferences now, where I feel like the only thing you can do is somehow make divisions out of it. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I feel like they've dug themselves a hole.
Well, I know one thing that NCAA basketball does, one thing that they could do. You could always have the week where it's conference championships, right? Because whoever wins the conference championship is probably going to be in. Well, like say a 1-loss team that didn't win their game before that could have made it to the conference champion. You could have those teams play in like a play-in type of bracket the week of the conference championship, play each other for a play-in spot for the tournament.
It's just so much tougher because it's football. It's not like basketball or baseball where you can play multiple games in a day and it's fine. It's a whole football game. You have guys who are getting hit 24/7. That's why you get a week off every single week. So that's why it's going to be hard to keep adding more games and doing that. It'll be interesting to see what they do this year. We'll get the baseline this year and we'll figure out what they're going to do. And from there, we kind of see what we need to tweak because we really just don't know with the new college landscape.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out, man. I mean, if they can figure out the playoffs of this year, they can figure it out next year.
Speaking of somebody who needs to figure it out, right now the Philadelphia 76ers are absolutely sucking it up. Now, as of right now, they were the second or third team in the East when Embiid went out. They're now 3-7 in their last 10. Got blown out by Doc Rivers in the last game, and now they only sit a game and a half in front of the first play-in game. What do they need to do?
Well, it's like you said, they lost Embiid. They're the front runner for MVP until he went down. Uh, it's tough coming back from losing such a scorer guy who averaged over 30 points a game. These blowout games, these blowout losses. You're looking at, if Embiid was there, that point differential swings, because not only on offense is he a presence, but defensively he's also a presence. And when you play teams like San Antonio with Wemby, those tall guys, I mean, the game against the Cavs, the Sixers won, but you have a guy like Jared Allen scoring 24 because Embiid's not in there. The best thing to do, and I think one thing, the front office, terrible mistake. You get rid of Patrick Beverly, top defender, but not only is he a defender, he's one of those guys that knows how to
Mark.
have a locker room presence and can get these guys hyped up. I like the Buddy Hield signing. Like, I like the Buddy Hield trade, but like Marcus Morris, good defender, big man who got the key to the city. Does he have to return that now that he's not in Philadelphia anymore? But like I said, front office trade deadline, I could see if they wanted a shooter, but honestly, getting rid of Beverly, bad choice. They just need to come together and uh, be a team rather than just leaning straight up on Maxi to score 30 points a game.
Here's my thing, and I think I told you this last time we talked about it. They don't need to worry about anything but making sure they can get into the playoffs for when Joel Embiid comes back. They need to get themselves in a position. We've seen what they can do when Joel Embiid is there and is healthy. Let him get this injury figured out. Let him come in healthy. He'll be back for the playoffs. Then you're ready to go. You just have to figure out, sprinkle in some wins from here, you know. And to be honest, you also got to think of this too. They just picked up some players, so they have to get used to the offense and the chemistry and figure it out. I think they'll get it figured out. I think they'll still have themselves a decent spot, but they just need to get through it until Embiid gets back. And I think when Embiid gets back, I think you're fine.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, like you really can't replace 38 points per game. How do you replace 38 points per game? How do you replace 14 boards a game? The best player in the league, and it's really hard to. And the only thing I can see is they need to win games. They need to figure out an offensive scheme that fits with the players they have with them right now that isn't Embiid. Now, they didn't go out and get a big man. I don't know why they didn't. You have guys like DeMarcus Cousins and Dwight Howard, who I'd rather have signed from China right now that could be playing right now. We didn't do that. That's fine. It's whatever.
You still can.
I mean, you still can. Why not? But it's just, you're only a game and a half away from having to play a play-in game. And I'm really scared to see what happens if Joel Embiid has to come in. The first thing he has to do is try to play playing games. And, those are like one or two games you get. And if you lose both of those, then you're gone. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how this team stays afloat. They've beaten a good Cavs team twice now without Embiid. And so you wonder where that comes to. Because, I mean, you look at the top right now in the East, and you have 7.5 games between the first and second place team. The Celtics are up there. They won 9 of the last 10. They've only lost like 6 games all year. And then you're like sitting there wondering, 12 games all year. 12 games all year.
So crazy.
And like, how are you going to compete with that? So I don't know. Speaking of the Celtics, do you guys think this is actually going to be their year this year? I know they're based like the Yankees, where they have these amazing regular seasons and they go fizzle out. You don't think so?
No.
No, I hate the Celtics. I don't think it's their year. No.
I think their season usually ends just like how Jaylen Brown's dunk contest ended. His last dunk, what was it? He went up for a dunk, dunked the ball, and he was like, "Oh crap! I was supposed to act like my eyes were closed." But pretty much like the ending of their season, they usually fizzle out in the playoffs, just like Doc Rivers. So honestly, I'm not gonna. It's too early to say. With sports, you never know. Uh, just like the Steelers when they went 11-0, lost in the first round of the playoffs. Um, but yeah, that's Kristaps Porzingis was their like best signing, but honestly, I don't think that they're gonna make it to the finals, let alone win it.
That team is just so. I mean, you have Brown, you have Tatum, you have Drew Holiday, and Kristaps in your starting. It's just tough for me to sit there and as they're playing right now, how they've been playing, to say this team isn't a favorite to win win it all this year.
Sure, they're a
Uh,
favorite, but New England Patriots were a favorite when they went 17-0. Like Dylan said, Steelers were a favorite. Yeah, people are favorites all the time. Look what happens.
All it
It's
takes is
playoffs. It's playoffs.
all it takes
We've
is
talked
getting
about it.
hot at the right
Playoffs.
time.
But I guess we can go into MLB. There's only 3 minutes left on this one. I'm not sure if you guys are wanting to do a second one, but
I gotta leave after this. I have a meeting.
all right. Well, then I won't go to MLB. What I'll do is I'll ask you guys, what is your certified baller from this past week, if you have one?
Oh man. Oh man. I got one. I hate to say it. But how about the boy hitting a 3 to send Purdue home at Ohio State, man? That was insane. That was an incredible shot. And the fact that they did that and just absolutely killed Purdue, I think Purdue getting a loss like that this late in the season is not good going into March Madness.
Mhm.
But kudos to Ohio State. I mean, what a bucket that was.
Dylan, got any?
Going like that route, I would even say I don't know his name, but the assistant coach who is now the head coach of that team, taking a team who was losing to teams like Penn State. They lost to, what was it?
Blown out by Northwestern.
Northwestern. Yeah. Got
They even
blown
had
up
the
by
same run.
Northwestern. He takes this team against like arguably one of the best programs in college basketball and wins. It was his first game, right? Like his first
First
game
game, he beat number 2
as
Purdue, yeah.
head coach, and he beats the number 2 team in the nation. So that's my certified baller.
Yeah, this really sucks because I was expecting just Christian, wasn't expecting you two in here. I had the exact same thing. Jake Diebler, John Diebler's brother, old Ohio State basketball player, he has the most threes in Ohio State history. His brother Jake is the interim head coach. I mean, you beat Purdue, the number 2 team in the nation, then you go and you play a game like you did yesterday against Michigan State at Michigan State and you win it. Hey, I mean, I wish the committee could look at post and pre a coach instead of the whole season, but you can't do that. And unless Ohio State somehow makes a miracle run in the Big Ten tournament, they're not making it in. Do you guys have anybody you find as a deflated baller this past week?
Hmm.
Not
It's
off
hard.
the top of my head.
It's hard. Sports are like ever since the NFL's gone down, it's kind of hard. Um, I guess the media. I'm gonna go with the media as a deflated baller.
Philly media. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what? When in doubt, just pick Jim Irsay.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. Is he,
Just pick
is
Jim
he, has he
Irsay.
recovered yet?
He's still my deflated baller. Sell the
Yep.
team. Get out of business.
I'm going to go with Cal Peterson. He's the Flyers, I guess,
Oh.
third string goalie. Dude's awful, by the way. Let up 7 goals to the Pens last night. 2 of them were easy saves. Easy
But third-
saves.
You said third string. Are you surprised about this? What
I'm
happened
just
to the
saying.
Flyers? What happened to them?
Yeah, I guess Earlson, their backup. Obviously Carter's gone for obvious reasons, but you have the third string getting out there and letting 7 of 32 shots go in the goal. So I don't know. And real quick, we have less than probably 30 seconds left. What's a hot take you'll have this week?
Oh,
Ollie, you're in the way. All right, so we got cut off there. Unfortunately, our other 2 members that we got on, surprisingly, I'm glad they were able to get on today. Had to get off. So I'm going to be finishing this episode back in David's corner. Utley decides when to take the stream. Utley, can you like move, please? No, that's not moving. That's you moved back into the camera. So the hot takes of the week this week, right now, Utley, can you please move? The hot Welcome to the Utley cam. There we go, bud. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, Dylan said that his hot take of the week is that Jordan Poole isn't a quality starter. Now, actually, I feel like last time I checked, he got benched. So maybe people agree that he is not a quality starter there. Doesn't have star players to hide behind, which is very true. That's what Dylan wanted me to say. And we've kind of seen how he is by himself. And I think a lot of times, when people didn't sign him, I think Christian included, thought they should have re-signed Jordan Poole. I mean, it kind of turns out that's kind of a dud. He was hidden behind a good player in Curry, good Clay, a team that was built around him that made him shine. Got him money. It got him money. That's all you can say about that. Good on him. But him and Kyle Kuzma being like two of the worst plus minuses in the league this year is crazy. That Wizards team, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a good Wizards team, not even like the John Wall Beal teams or just John Wall in general. It's kind of a shame, really, how people that go to the Wizards just go there to die. And kind of think Katie dodged a bullet by not going back home to DC. Nick wanted me to say Phillies will sign a pitcher. Maybe a pitcher. Maybe means Blake Snell. Maybe means Bauer. I know that Christian, I've been saying somebody gets signed as a pitcher. That hasn't happened yet. Maybe he means a pitcher of lemonade or a pitcher of water. Who knows? I bet something is better than what Kimbrel can do. Put a pitcher of water out there. Probably could pitch a lot better than Kimbrel did against the Diamondbacks. For my hot take of the week, I'm going to bring it into some female college basketball. We don't talk about female basketball a lot other than a little bit of Caitlin Clark and a little bit of Sabrina that we talked about. But the University of South Carolina women's are undefeated right now, 27-0. You know what? I think this week that comes to an end. They have 2 games this week. They have Arkansas, and then they play the Tennessee Lady Volunteers. Now, the Tennessee Volunteers are not the old Tennessee Volunteers of old with Pat Summer that they had back there in the day. I think they get it done. I think Tennessee ends up surprisingly upsetting a really good USC team who, I'll say it right now, will win the national title. No doubt in my mind. But I think they'll take one. You might as well lose one right now before you get into the SEC tournament, before you get into March Madness. I think that's going to be this one. That's what I have there. And so to talk about a little bit more, we'll go MLB right now. A little breaking news here. For us Phillies fans, so used to Phillies blow a 9th inning lead and lose. Even happens in spring training. This isn't an every year thing. Oh, man. It's spring training. It's all I got to tell myself. It's spring training. This isn't going to happen during the regular season. Never does. Bullpen, what? Never an issue. But the biggest thing right now we have is Cody Bellinger has re-signed with the Chicago Cubs. It kind of happened overnight the other night. And what a bargain for $80 million. A lot of change right there for 3 years, 80 mil, 30, then a 20 at the end there. They got a bat. And it's interesting, though, because you have a Cubs team who just missed the playoffs this past year. And you're like, maybe they can make a push this year, but they lost Stroman. They need pitching now. They lost their pitcher. Maybe they get Snell. Maybe that's who should get Snell now that Stroman's gone. They get a pitcher there. Sign Belly and Snell. But I'm so glad that spring training has started. But a lot of teams I'm looking out for. I already told you Orioles working really good. Obviously, I'm a big Phillies guy, big Philadelphia everything. Looking really forward to seeing how they play. Yeah, I just really can't wait. I wish I could talk about it more with somebody here. I'm talking about myself right here, and people are going to start thinking I'm crazy. I'm not crazy, I promise. But I'm really glad, truthfully. And to everybody's watching, and to Dylan, and to Nick, and to Christian, I'm so glad that I was able to see all of you on at one point today. Now, maybe it was only for 5 or 10 minutes, but it's been kind of rough sitting here doing it by myself. I don't get that feedback from somebody. I'm just kind of spitting out nonsense. And as you saw the last time I did this, where I tried to predict like 9 games, I did awful. I did absolutely awful. I think I only got like 1 or 2 games right, and that was like the Devils versus Canadiens game, which I felt was a gimme game anyway, consider how bad the Canadiens are. But I mean, yeah, I'm so glad I was able to have people to come in and talk. We were talking about a lot of stuff today, and I really enjoyed it. I guess if I want to talk about one final thing, Flyers kind of in a downslide right now. 3 losses in a row, 1 being overtime. At least got a point there. It's just, with TK out, Konechny, he's out right now, and Obviously we have the third string goalie who's in goal against the Pens last night. Gonna be very interesting. They're going to have to find a way to push. They're already overdoing what people thought they were going to do this year. Kind of need to keep going, or else they're going to fall back into place. Maybe we're still in the rebuild mode. Who knows? Probably are. We're kind of overperforming, but keep it up. Yeah, let's see if we make the playoffs. But with that, I don't have much more to say. Again, I'm so happy that everybody was able to get on. If you have anything you want us to talk about, please tell us in the comments down below. All 7 of you, 3 of you, including my mom. Mom, tell me what you want me to talk about. I'll talk about anything. But I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in. It's really fun to do. Even if it's only 5 people, we're just glad to be able to have that time to talk to all of you. And have a good week. Enjoy some more baseball. Basketball coming back. Let's do some more NHL. Enjoy NHL, and then we'll talk about all that as we can in the next one. See you guys.
Dive into the game from hoops to gridiron, analyzing every play like we were the champion. With witty banter and humor, we keep it fun. HTP fam, we always bring the #1. Highlight taking pockets, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, living the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype. We're not just blowing steam.